So we start the new week with some good news, huh?
Yes, with single digit of ever in the first in since 27th of January, Kuntepchai, the new case of infection today is reported to be 9. So it's the lowest ever since 27th of January.
Yeah, the new figures today certainly vindicate the government for all the tough measures that it has imposed over the past 2 months. And it is certainly making the government more confident in talking about easing some of the restrictions or reopening the economy. As we all know, there's been a lot of pressure from various groups in the society for the government to start relaxing some of the restrictions. So today, if you listen to Dr. Tavisin Viswanuyothin, the spokesman of the Center for the COVID-19 Situation Administration, CCSA, today, it's quite clear that there is strong possibility that the government will try to return some semblance of normalcy to the country in the next few days.
Yes, they have very serious discussion this morning, Kuntepchai, and normally the press briefing tend to take place at 11:30. Today, the press briefing starts at 12:30, and they came up with this proposal that perhaps likely that tomorrow the extension of emergency decree will have to take place in the cabinet meeting. But let's take a look at tough measures that probably to be remained as the measure to take strict control of the COVID-19 situation in Thailand. So these are the tough measures to remain. Yes.
The extension of the state of emergency didn't come as a surprise. Neither did the 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew, but others are certainly are interesting. That some of the restrictions that will be lifted, that are likely to be lifted.
Yes, and that would be in details that we have to monitor what will be eased up for the measures. But probably strict control on foreign arrivals still have to be maintained at this point, and curfew from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. still have to be remained, and ban on non-essential inter-provincial travel and mass gatherings proposed by Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration. So these are the issues that probably will have to be maintained.
Yeah, and in responding to the strict control on the foreign arrivals, the Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand today decided to extend the ban on all incoming flights for another 1 month. The existing ban will expire on April the 30th, a few days from now. But the authority today decided that for the sake of making sure that there will be no importation of the virus from overseas, the ban on incoming flights will be maintained for another 1 month. So that's part of the tough measures, Sunatha, that the government believes needs to be extended.
The ban on incoming flight is really have to be taken into account because the situation around the world is still very serious with COVID-19 situation. That's why the Thai government would like to introduce this strict measure and to maintain it, because mainly in other countries as well, Kuntepchai, new causes or new cases of infection happen because of foreign arrivals. So that's why the Thai government want to maintain it as strict as it is.
Now, in practice, in fact, all foreign arrivals have been barred from entering Thailand. Of course, exceptions are for military aircraft and aircrafts making emergency landing. And of course, Thais returning from overseas are still welcomed, but they are subject to strict monitoring and screening and will be put in state quarantine for at least 14 days to make sure that they are free from the virus. So this is one of the strict measures that will stay for another 1 month.
But there are exemptions from the ban are flights by state or military aircraft, technical landings with no disembarkation, emergency landings, humanitarian aid flights, medical and relief flights, repatriation and cargo flights. These are flights that can be landed in Thailand because that's part of the measure in helping Thais overseas who want to return to Thailand. But there is strict quota each day that it cannot exceed 200 each day for Thai from overseas who want to return to Thailand.
And bad news for people who are looking forward to extended holidays in the next 2 weeks, Kunatha. Just like what they did to the Songkran holiday. Remember that? Songkran holiday was scrapped, so the coming would-be holidays for the next 2 weeks are most likely to be scrapped by the cabinet tomorrow. This is a proposal made by the Center for the COVID-19 Situation Administration.
Obviously, if it's still normal, Thai people can enjoy long holidays over May, but it turned out that no holidays, no extra holidays at all during May. So they have to scrap following holidays like the 1st of May, Labor Day, which is very important for labor around the world, for workers around the world. And in Thailand, there is no celebration today as holiday. The 4th of May, Coronation Day, is working day. May the 6th, Visakha Busha Day, very important for Buddhists. That's no longer a holiday either. And Royal Ploughing Day on May 11th, not a holiday. So these are holidays to be scrapped this year, Kun Thepchai.
Yeah, the government claimed that it's not scrapping the holidays, but they only postpone them. But there's no answer as to when these holidays will be compensated for. No, but the main reason why the government is going to decide to scrap this holiday is that long holiday is normally the occasion for people to travel overseas, to travel back to their hometowns in provinces, maybe much like Songkran holiday, right? So to be on the safe side, the government believes that by scrapping these holidays, they will be able to make sure that people, at least people in big cities like Bangkok, will not be engaged in a mass movement that would jeopardize all the success that the government has made so far in containing the virus. So it's going to be another quiet holidays in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, very unprecedented indeed, because in the travel between provinces will have to be stopped right now, or it has to be lessened as much as we can. But tomorrow we have to monitor, or we have to follow what will happen during the cabinet meeting, Kun Thepchai, because as we know that perhaps CCSA will propose for extension of the emergency decree, but the details of easing restriction probably can happen. So let's take a look of the guidelines for easing restrictions, which will have to be decided tomorrow. For example, priority must be given to health factors. 50% work from home directive to be maintained. Priority is to be given to essential activities, and wearing face mask is strictly required.
Of course, there are other factors that many people want the government to take into account in deciding how much they would relax the restrictions. But according to Dr. Thevisin, the Prime Minister Kun Prayut today made it very clear that he wants the health factor to be the primary factor to be considered. The rest are, not as essential as the health factor. So they are to be taken into consideration, yes, but not as important as the health factor. So that means that whatever relaxation that will come along will be based on whether or not they will jeopardize or will they hurt the success in the fight against the coronavirus or not.
That's right. So small and medium-sized business perhaps will be allowed to take place again, and some sections of the department store can operate again, but it's something to do with the details in which we don't know what will be happening if they allow the ease of restriction, and requirements for business and social activities to reopen. So it means that they still have to keep social distancing, taking off temperature, providing hand sanitizers, imposing limits on seating capacity or number of clients, and tracking application if possible or registration. So that can be guideline for business and social activities to reopen, Kun Thepchai.
Certainly the government wants to open up the economy to allow certain types of businesses to resume, but these basic guidelines to ensure that people keep social distancing and always, keep their hands clean using hand sanitizer these are requirements that need to be strictly followed for any businesses that will reopen. And it's quite interesting that the Dr. Thavisin today quoted the Prime Minister as saying that he wants the businesses to be reopened in different phases, at least 4 phases that, as we learned today from Dr. Thavisin, starting with 25% of the businesses and social activities. Then if things are satisfactory, then the level of the reopening will go up to 50%. 75% later on, and if everything is under control, 100% reopening will come along. But okay, that will be a long way off. This is what is known in some other country as suppress and lift policy. That is that if situation improves, then the restrictions will be relaxed. But if there are resurgence of the virus, then stringent measures will be reintroduced. So it's sort of suppressed at one time, and if things do not improve, then we live, and then if things get worse, then we suppress again. So it's a cycle of dealing with the virus. But this is something that medical doctors in Thailand told us in an interview earlier, that may not be applicable or may not be something that business sector would like, because certainty is most important for business sector. If you say we relax today, we suppress tomorrow, then there is certainly a lot of uncertainty involved.
That's right. Because uncertainty is really important. And what Dr. Thavisin told us today is the main consideration, especially by the Prime Minister, because he's quite concerned with health factor, and the group of business which will be allowed to reopen have to be the same for the whole country, which means, for example, it have to be guided by the group or type of business, not by locations. Otherwise, for example, if one type of business cannot be open in Bangkok, but allowed to be open in Suphanburi, for example, it means people may try to avoid the restriction in Bangkok and travel to other provinces to try to get those services. So it may not be function this way. That's why they have to take consideration. What are the group of business that can be reopened the same all over the country?
But the bottom line of the Prime Minister, as according to Dr. Thavisin, is that there must not be a second wave of the virus. So that means there will be close monitoring of the results of the relaxation of the shutdown. And an evaluation will be made every 14 days. And Dr. Thavisin said the authorities will not hesitate to shut down business or social activities again if necessary. So that means that everything is very conditional. If things improve, then the relaxation will continue to progress. But if not, then strict measures will be reintroduced. So that is how things stand at the moment.
The bottom line is because they just don't want the situation to be back again, because Thailand do not like to see second wave of pandemic, because so far it seems that the situation has been under control to a certain extent, and all of us have been working quite hard, from the public health official, the government, all the business have been trying to participate in these restriction measures So if we have to face the second wave, it means everything during the first wave is gone without any fruit.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's why Dr. Thavisin kept on repeating that we must not be complacent no matter what happens, because we cannot say we are back to normal until there is a vaccine to prevent the virus or when we can develop a cure to it, which is something that is still very far off.
Yes, perhaps 1 year, 1.5 years. So that's why we have to try to rearrange our life and accept next new normal situation คุณเทพชัย